There we go. This will just be the cold open. Mana mana. Mana mana. I'm feeling very festive.
Indeed.
Yeah. Presents are the way, according to my shirt.
This is what it sounds like in the morning. So
Yeah, we're having a pre-record.
Yep.
So let's get into today's episode then.
yeah,
Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb,
I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
and we, like I said in the cold open, we had to pre-record today.
Yeah.
It's probably coming out around the same time. It depends how fast I can get the upload. Mainly because I agreed to do a stream.
Busy with another friend later.
Yeah, today's a busy day
Mm.
because I've got this, which we're doing at 9.
9 in the morning.
Yeah, 9 in the morning. And you can scoot closer, make room.
What if I don't want to?
It'll make you sound more clear in the mic.
All right.
It's what everybody yells at you for. Literally everybody we know who watches
No.
the show has said Seth needs to be closer to the mic.
No, they say Seth, get closer to the mic, and then it was Seth, stop hiding behind the mic.
Well, because you can be close to the mic without hiding behind it, like this.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's harder to do that when we're sharing one mic. It was easier at the studio when we had 2.
Is this what you wanted?
If we had 2 mics, then yeah, because then we could just hold them.
Yeah.
Like, we could go full podcast. Like, this is like traditional,
Yeah.
like, this is like, oh, I'm like a guy on the street about to interview you.
But we're not doing that.
Yeah. I do have another mic somewhere, but I don't know how to set it up on OBS to where
Yeah.
we could use both mics at the same time and get the audio to function correct.
Mm.
I think I did it once. I think I did it for when we did Tales of the Jedi
And
campaign.
then never again.
Never again. Because the problem
Oh
is,
man,
I missed the
I
Tales of the
missed
Jedi
Tales of the
campaign.
Jedi. I love.
I
that.
love the direction we were going,
Yeah.
and then Ethan was like, "Nah."
Yeah, I love how Andrew was like becoming president of evil.
He was the BB-8 of that, or the B9 of that
Yeah.
campaign.
The thing is, I don't think he like did anything.
He assassinated a guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. He just fucking went for it.
Well, because he was told to by his master.
Yeah.
His master said, "Hey, can you assassinate this guy?
Go kill that guy. And
That
he-
way I can become more powerful, and therefore you become more powerful by association."
Yeah, he fucking just went for it.
I mean, it works. Do what you gotta do
Yeah.
when you're a Sith Lord, okay? Sith Lords be Sith Lording.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, our Jedi are falling down the dark side, except for Ethan. Ethan's
Yeah.
trying not to. But our Jedi are like, I'm just gonna murder this guy.
yeah. Me, I'm over here like not killing people, but being like such an asshole about it.
Yeah, and then you and Tori and Sky end up heading towards where the Sith Empire is.
Yep.
And Ethan's like, I guess we're going there.
Yep.
And he's like, doesn't want to go there at all. And he's like, look, we need to go back and report to the Jedi what we found. And you guys are like, nah, we need to investigate more.
It's like, no, man, I need money.
Also, that's also how we were going to connect everybody's plot lines together, because y'all had to run into Drew still.
Yeah.
Because y'all were not with Drew after 2 sessions yet. And I was like, this is how y'all meet. And Ethan's like, nah.
No, we're not doing that. It's like, we don't care. We're gonna do it anyway.
And yeah, and that's kind of why the campaign fell apart.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody had different ideas of what they wanted
Yeah.
to do. And
That's
I think,
just one of those things that happens.
yeah. I would like to bring it back,
Yeah.
because I really liked helping Tori make her character. Nemo the Ewok.
Yeah.
Because we were using the saga. So for those who have not watched that campaign, we're just going to kind of
Yeah.
get our sidetracks out of the way now.
sidetracks.
Yeah, get our
We're gonna
tangents out of the
speed
way
run.
now.
Bam, bam, bam.
Get tangents out of the way now at the beginning of the show.
Yep.
And so the Saga Edition rules, which is what we were using instead of Fantasy Flight, which is what we've used for every other Star
Yeah.
Wars campaign.
A system that I have taught Andrew and Tori how to use.
They don't
Fantasy
like.
Flight. They don't like it. but they know how to use it.
They don't like it mainly because it's not a normal D20
Yeah.
system, which Saga Edition is. Saga Edition
Yeah.
is your normal D20 system. It was made by Wizards of the Coast back when they held the license for Star Wars games. Because they did two systems. They did the regular Star Wars system, and then they did a Saga Edition, which was basically their second edition for it.
Yeah.
Which is close. The rules are basically 3.5 and 4E kind of mashed together into a Star Wars game. At least that's how I read it.
I'd see it as like 3.5.
More
or
3.5. Yeah,
Pathfinder
it's more
kinda mix.
3.5 Pathfinder, but it has a little bit of 4E in there.
Yeah.
Like the way they explain flat-footed and stuff, that's 4E. That's very 4E unless Pathfinder 3.5.
Pathfinder and 3.5 both do.
But it's like it's a little different the way they I think. But yeah, it's very 3.5 heavy in Pathfinder, which is Pathfinder first edition. Second edition is an entirely new beast.
Yeah.
And so they like they keep a lot of the 3.5 stuff, but you can see the hints of 4E because it's coming out
Yeah.
in that time when they're switching
Yeah.
D&D version like editions. So like it's in that because it's 2005.
Yeah, that was a weird time for D&D.
Because 2005 is when it's coming
it
out.
decided to try and be a video game for a little bit.
Yeah, which is what 4th edition is. 4th edition is, hey, we see how well MMOs are doing.
Yeah.
Because
Want to do that.
Because this is also the rise of like WoW at the time. Like WoW is becoming very popular at this point. And also Star Wars Galaxies is out at this time.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you still had Ultima Online at that point.
What do you mean, had Ultima Online is, it's never going away.
Nobody plays Ultima Online. Also RuneScape, like it had all the popular like MMOs of the time. That's like when they're really becoming big, and so, Wizards decides, let's copy that formula. Let's make combat more like an MMO, and the numbers more MMO.
Yep.
So you're creating less of a class, and you're creating a archetype. So you're either the tank, the healer, or the DPS.
Mm-hmm.
And some people liked it, not a lot, and not enough to keep 4th edition going for very long. I mean, I guess it ran pretty long in hindsight, because it made it all the way to 2013.
That's 8 years. That's a respectable amount.
Yeah.
So
because that's when 5th edition kind of started. Because 2013 is when they did D&D Next. They were still doing 4th edition, kind of. And then 2014 is when they officially switched to 5th edition.
Yeah.
And
so, I was thinking about this, and this is something I was thinking about.
We'll come back. Hold on. Hold that. Hold it close.
Okay.
I was going to explain why Saga Edition's important.
Yeah, okay.
So, with Saga Edition, it is broken. Because, like 3.5 in Pathfinder, it's very min-max approved. Like, if you're a min-maxer, you like Saga Edition.
Yeah, I had an idea for where I wanted to take my character. I don't think anybody else did.
Yeah, and so, like, min-maxers love Saga Edition because it's broken in the same way that 3.5 is a min-maxer's favorite D&D edition.
Mm-hmm.
And so, an example of this is the Ewok Scout, which you can break.
We're never gonna find that fucking Ewok.
No, because so the way it works is you create ranks similar to 3.5 in Pathfinder. So you create ranks in your skills, and that's how much you add to your roll for that skill.
Mm-hmm.
With an Ewok Scout, if you build it correctly and you add the right starting feat, you can have a 20 on your stealth.
Like I said, we're never gonna fucking find them.
So that's
Unless
on top of your roll. So
really
unless you roll a
poorly.
nat 1, which even then, I think because Star Wars Saga Edition is like D&D, technically for skill checks,
that's not a critical fail.
Critical fails don't apply. Although most DMs say yes. Same thing with critical successes, because it makes the game more interesting. Because it makes it more interesting if you can crit fail or crit succeed. It also makes it to where like the impossible DCs are possible to a degree, because if I say DC 25 and you have a 4 or plus 3, which is the average, honestly,
Yeah.
for a skill. I'd say +3, +4 is the average for a skill. +5 is if that's your proficiency or expertise. But I'd say most average first to third level players are gonna have like +3s, +4s. You're not
beating that.
No, especially 5th edition, because once again it goes away from the ranking system to where you have can have really high points in a skill to a more point based off your abilities. Anyways, your thought if you still held it.
Yeah, I still held it, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, I played the weirdest understanding of tabletop game systems in that it goes, if I'm remembering the order correctly, it goes Pathfinder, Saga Edition, Mutants and Masterminds 5e. Sorry, Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition, and then D&D 5th edition.
Yeah. And then eventually Fantasy Flight somewhere in there.
Yeah, sorry, Fantasy Flight is supposed to replace Saga Edition. Saga Edition
was like the last one you learned, but I mean, it was easy to learn because it's a combination of things you already knew.
Yeah, and I was like, I was just like, oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah,
I've done this before.
I know Saga. I know 3.5 Pathfinder.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah,
I was raised in the Pathfinder.
So that's
molded by it.
So that's our tangent.
Yeah.
What have you been up to this week? I guess starting off, Baldur's Gate 3 dropped patch 5, so I've been I had to do that
because you got the murder blood a bit too strong.
Yeah, I think I got literally the worst ending. If you want to check it out, I posted it yesterday. It was a surprise video because I was like, it wasn't originally on the schedule, but I said, oh well, they dropped it, so I might as well might as well make a quick video, and so I posted that yesterday instead of what was supposed to come out. Yeah, so
you can look
on the channel.
Yeah.
If you're already watching here, it's probably right underneath on the if you look at the videos that are out.
So I beat the DLC for Remnant from the Ashes. I'm trying to move on to the next one, but the game won't let me.
Oh, is there did you get a bug or something?
It says that it's installed, but I don't know why it's not letting me go and do the thing.
Have you tried uninstalling and reinstalling?
I might have to try that when I get home.
I was gonna say that's the IT version of on-off switch. Yeah, it's it's not working. Did you turn it off and back on again? Yeah. Did you uninstall and reinstall? No.
All right.
It's the same equivalency because then you're doing a fresh install and hopefully that'll clean it up.
Yeah. But I beat it.
It's basically, and especially since on PlayStation, on a PS4, you can't do a verify installation like you can on PC games. Because on Steam and GOG, you can verify installations where it'll just go, oh, you're missing a file there. And so
I shot that weird evil plant bug man to death with fire and acid, and I prayed that it would work. And it did eventually. It took 9 tries.
But yeah, so
he's dead now. Problem solved. Except it's not, because the weird evil crystal that we use for powers is still glowy and red and evil.
Oh. Well, I mean, they gotta have room for the sequel somewhere.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't do Remnant from the Ashes too.
Yep.
If you can't do your powers anymore.
Oh no, I've made a terrible mistake.
Now I can't play more of this.
I solved the problem, but at what cost?
What did it cost you? Everything.
Then me, you, and Andrew hit up a group playthrough of the original Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about, I talked about it actually yesterday on the Baldur's Gate 3 video.
Oh yeah?
I gave a little talk about that and how I'm excited to run y'all through all 3.
Yeah.
Cuz
I fucking can't deal with bears apparently.
Bears are not your friend.
No.
They Seth kept walking right towards them, stop moving, and then the bears would chase him.
Oh no, I've made a mistake.
And so what you need to know in Baldur's Gate 1 is that bears are not they're strangely not like inherently like
Hostile.
hostile. They just sometimes take a minute to decide if they want to be hostile or not, or if you just walk past them, they'll ignore you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, wolves will
Wolves
will fuck you
fucking
up.
hate you.
Yeah, they will fuck you up.
Yeah.
They are. You were telling me before we started recording that you had started your own solo run, and you were like, "Yeah, some wolves got me."
Yeah, not wolves were the start of the problem. I went through. At first, I was like, "Oh no, Imoen dead." Okay,
Did wolves kill her, or did she just?
wolves killed
Okay.
her, and then after about 5 minutes, they killed me. And then,
After going through
Yeah.
your companions,
yeah,
because they just chip down your companions.
mhm.
Yeah, and that's why.
They recruited Zvar and Monteron, and they
Are you
died.
playing core? Or
Yeah, I think it's like whatever the standard like difficulty is. selected
yeah,
as.
because I think it might be normal actually.
Yeah, I think I'm
'Cause-
playing normal.
Because I think it's story mode, easy, normal, core, and then hard and whatever the
Yeah,
whatever the most difficult one is.
yeah, I'm doing normal. And,
Because core is basically straight up D&D second edition rules.
Yeah.
They go, you are playing by the rules. You do not get to once you die sort of thing almost.
Yeah.
So although the bad thing about core is your party members have a chance of dying permanently.
Yeah.
Which means you can't go to a church to bring them back.
yeah, so I'm on normal because later on a further save that I got a lot further because I had everybody
Yeah, you made it all the way to
to the friendly arms.
friendly arm. Yeah.
Two things happened during the playthrough.
The
The
assassin. The assassin
The
get you.
assassin got me, but don't worry, I have the ability to stop and reset the timeline. So I went and did that, and I was like, okay, clearly me and Imoen, not enough. Let me go get the other two guys.
Yeah. So some things you need to know
Yeah,
about Baldur's Gate 1 is that throughout it you are being attacked by
Yeah.
assassins. Like they are left and right and
like
up and
even
down.
in Candlekeep, you get 3 attempted assassinations. Oh, I think it was. Oh, it's because the guards are like, "Hey, we'll teach you how to fight."
Yeah. But
That's why I thought it
the
was-
actual attempted assassinations are both inside of a house.
Yeah,
So one of them is like, "Hey, are you so and so?" And it's like, "Yeah. What about it?"
or like, no, and it's like, "Well, I'll fucking kill you anyway."
Yeah. And then the other one is like he already knows, like he's like,
Yeah.
"I know who you are. I'm coming to kill you." And it's like, "God, what did I
Damn it,
do?"
what the fuck? I've been here 30 seconds.
Technically, I lived here all my life and never had anything like this happen
Yeah.
before. Because what, we're supposed to be 18
Yeah.
theoretically when this happens. Although
Let's
we talked about the
Yeah.
novelization and how the novelization aged
It's not
Abdel
very
up, and I
good.
don't. Yeah, not a
I
fan.
was talking about the friendly arm, and it's like, I've been here 20 seconds, man, and it's like, you die.
Which is your third assassination attempt,
Yeah.
and the first one where you get a note showing what your bounty is, which is
like
pretty
200
impressive. It's
gold.
pretty
I'm
impressive
like,
for like just leaving
what?
house. Like you just left your house and it's like 200 gold bounty. It's like, what did I do?
But the two things I had to go to the church to get fixed is, first off,
Did you put a cursed item on?
I put a cursed item on. I was like,
that is why you always identify.
first. I did not do that because I was like, why would I need to do that? That seems very dumb. And I forgot there was a certain point in history when it was encouraged to fuck your players.
Yeah, Gary Gygax hates players.
Yeah.
Well, hated because he's not around, but
Yeah.
hated his players. There's a reason why they talk about the what is it, the what's the name of that? The really hated dungeon crawl.
Oh, the Tomb of Annihilation or the Tomb
Not-
of Horrors?
Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah.
Annihilation people like. Annihilation is fun.
Tomb of Horrors is such bullshit.
Tomb of Horrors is literally how do I fuck my players over the
As hard as I can.
like, because Gary Gygax built it to be like, kill, 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 kill.
Yeah.
Like you walk through a door and you
You
die.
die.
It's supposed to be a puzzle game, but it's not. Puzzles are bullshit.
Yeah.
And the answers are death.
Yep. So the two things that happened, I picked up cursed item, and it was like, and now you're a girl. And I'm
Oh yeah,
like,
you got the belt.
okay.
You got the belt of gender swap.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, that's cool. I don't really care about that. Can I take it off?
No.
No. I'm like, okay. I was hoping that I could keep the belt of cold resistance on.
Even though you didn't want it, and
Yeah.
when me, you, and Drew are playing.
Well, because I was like fire, and I realized that no one's just fucking using fire, so I was like, why not? I have this empty slot.
Yeah, because so the belt of cold resistance gives you 100% cold resistance, but doubles the amount of fire damage you take.
But so far, no one's been using fire, so I'm like, why not? So that happened, and I got to the church, and I like fixed that. And I put it on Montserrat because
I do that too. It's funny.
Yeah. The other thing that happened, I decided to explore kind of the outside of the Friendly Arm Inn a little bit after that. Once I had like full party.
Yeah.
Khalid, Jaheira, Montaran, Zvar, and Imoen with me.
There you go, full party.
Yeah. So we go.
Although, probably not for long, because Montaran and Jaheira are gonna have at it.
Yeah, they're gonna be fucking with each other later on.
Because the way Baldur's Gate 1 works is if you have, because it follows the rules a little bit more to the letter than say Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 follows 5e rules, but not strictly.
5e rules are but looser.
Yeah,
I don't know where
for example, they do a lot of what a lot of DMs do for home rules, which is potions are half act or a bonus action rather than a full action, which is what a lot of home rule DMs do.
Yeah.
If they're nice. And then so with second edition and with Baldur's Gate 1, they do your party alignment is important. And you currently have 2 evil aligned characters in your party and 2 straight up good aligned characters.
Yeah.
And that, once your reputation goes up a bit, because you have that reputation system. So your reputation system implies what you're, like, if you're really following your alignment or not. So if you have a high reputation, that means you're more lawful good, etc. If you're less, like, you can have a negative reputation. If you do, then you start to hit like your more chaotic evil run. And I believe at like 17 or 18, no, at a 20, so the maxed out.
Yeah.
That's when Montaran and Jar are like, fuck you, and they will start a fight. But I believe, even without your reputation going up, eventually party members can fight amongst themselves, and then you have to decide whose side you're on, or if you're just staying out of it entirely. Yeah. And if you stay out of it entirely, then whoever dies, and that's on you.
Yep.
I have had that happen.
Yeah.
So I speak from experience.
The current. So
what, I guess going around, that means you fought some ogres.
I fought some ogres.
Yeah, because there's ogres around the.
Yeah.
And then
and Zvar died.
Or hobgoblins, rather. Sorry,
yeah,
hobgoblins.
Sorry.
So there are hobgoblins around, although ogres are nearby too, in like a different.
I fought one of them. That's where I got that fucking belt.
Yes, because the ogre has 2 belts on him, and one of them is one you can actually turn in for a quest. For somebody at the Friendly Arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, you fight the hobgoblins, you get the ring, and then there's somebody that lives in the Friendly Arm that owns that ring.
I could probably have like started talking to people before I was like, anyhow, I'm back. Time to sell shit because Zvar got fucking wrecked.
Yeah, and then sell shit and then go to the church and be like, hey, can you heal Zvar?
Can you fucking get my dead companion back up?
Yeah.
I got him up and I was like, alright.
It's expensive too.
Yeah, 500 gold.
It's expensive.
Like, you live another day.
Reviving is so goddamn expensive.
Yeah, as it should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because in one of my games,
because it should be a rarity. Yeah. It should be a rarity.
Unlike in one of my games where money is meaningless and you have to go and do a side quest to get someone back and be very careful who you ask.
Yeah. Yeah. But money should be tight to a degree.
Yeah.
I think after a certain level, like Acquisitions Incorporated, which is my D&D game I'm
Yeah.
running, you're gonna have a little bit more chances to make more money because you're running a business. But so, anyways, that's what we've been up to. Baldur's Gate 3, for our trio run. We are flying through.
Yeah, because
Andrew's like, I want to do main quest. Let's go.
Andrew's like,
Yeah.
he's locked in.
And
so that party consists of you're going with your triple class,
Mhm.
mage, fighter, thief.
yeah, it's what do they call it? It's fighter, mage, they don't, thief,
Yeah.
because it's not rogue. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fighter, mage, thief. I think is the order that it puts it in, but it doesn't matter.
and then Andrew's over here like this gnome priest of Lithuania.
Yeah, gnome cleric, which
Yeah.
he's actually doing well for
Yeah.
I'm surprised because magic in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Not because magic itself is hard, but because the way the combat
Yeah.
works, because it's real time with pause. So every time we're in combat, I'm like, okay, we got to pause.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We've initiated the system of talk with each other, make plan, go.
Yeah.
And after every fight, quick save.
Yeah. Because there was a problem.
We learned some things.
Yeah, we didn't even leave the prologue at Candlekeep, and there was a crash, and we were
Yeah.
like,
Okay. Crashing can happen.
so we were just gonna save more often.
Yeah.
And so and then after we die, we did TPK on against against a bear.
Against a bear.
And
'Cause
so-
the bear was fucking ready.
And since it TPK'd us, I was like, okay, from now on, after every fight, quick save, because quick save is easy. It's
And I've
it's
learned
literally
the valuable
Q.
experience that since I piss bears off, I can just lead them through people.
Which is what we did on that second
Yeah.
attempt.
Round 2.
Because
Fucking run away from the bear.
initially the idea was you got half health like in one swing
Oh shit.
because we're level 1s.
Yeah.
So you got half health immediately, and I was like, okay, go to Drew so that way he can heal you.
Important context. I am playing a like Kensai fighter.
Yeah, so you're going up to the front thinking I'm gonna swing my sword,
Yeah.
and then immediately get halved.
Bam.
And so we're like, okay, you need to go back. You need to heal. And meanwhile, I'm ranged at the moment. I got
Yeah.
Emma Winmate. I'm running all the NPCs.
Yeah.
So that way, saving them the hassle of it. Although you could probably
I'm learning it.
run
Thank God
handle the
there's a
load.
pause button.
Yeah, there's a pause button. And also like there's quick keys to
Yeah.
switch between. Like literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are your like 6
Yeah.
main, and then 0 is all. So if you want to highlight all of them, and that way you can command them all to walk at the same time.
Yeah.
What
Well,
I normally do is I hit all, start an attack,
Yeah.
but then I will, like, for magic users, I switch between them real quick and go, okay, you specifically do that. That way I do the initial all in, and then any, like, smaller details I have to switch, I
Yeah.
can do that.
Andrew is, like we said, he is.
He's
speed.
learning. He's
a quick learner, and he's also like main story. Fuck everything else.
Yeah, we haven't done
you
a
and your
single.
problem with that damn chicken. Fuck you.
Yeah, we haven't done a single side quest.
No.
What do you mean?
Apart from the ones in the tutorial area.
Yeah, we did all the tutorial ones, but that's a case of I kind of let them explore,
Yeah.
and then I didn't tell them how to leave yet, and we did them all by happenstance.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, that's all of them, and then they were like, oh, okay, we can leave now. Yep. And like on top of that, like you don't get to come back.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
do them all. Because unlike the rest,
No
because like the
comeback.
rest of the world, you can do them whenever.
Yeah.
Up to a certain point. Like the chapter before the last chapter.
Yeah.
I would argue is your last chance to do every side quest.
Just me talking to Dorn and seeing him later, and all three of us being like, you know what? This seems like not our fucking problem.
Yeah, because so we're playing Enhanced Edition, which comes with a few extra NPCs and fully voiced NPCs.
Yeah.
For the Enhanced Edition ones, because Beamdog was like, let's add some new characters, and so they added Dorn, Nira, and Monk.
I know where he is.
Rashid.
He's in the streets
Rashid.
preaching about justice.
I think it's
with food.
Rashid. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, because we made it all the way to Nashville. We're actually in the mines already.
Yeah.
And so, like, we made it to Nashville, and y'all heard Rashid preaching and, like, doing his kung fu
Such
moves.
is the path of the righteous.
And, like, doing his kung fu moves because he's a monk.
Yeah.
And Drew was like, what the fuck is he doing? He's flipping out.
Also, we started reading Stones in a Graveyard, and I guess the gravekeeper was like, hey, can that shit. Like, I don't know what we did, but he was
Yeah,
very
we started
upset.
reading them because there was one that said Andrew
Yeah.
died. I forget what dumb way it was, and Drew was like, "I died."
It's like, how did I die?
But
You
yeah,
can still move around.
yeah, it's a fun run though. We've already made it to, I said chapter 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've made it to chapter 2 out of 7.
Yeah.
Not including the prologue. The prologue is its own thing.
The good news is, like, because of how me and Andrew and you have kind of designed our characters, the equipment we need is, like, very non-existent.
Yeah, like because I'm a fighter mage thief, I literally cannot wear armor.
Yeah.
Well, I can. I have the ability to wear the heaviest of armor, but
no magic.
add no magic and also no thieving skills if
Yeah.
I do the heaviest. If I do like light armor, then I can still do my thieving, but once again, no magic. So, mage robes it is once we find some.
Yep.
Yeah. So a mage holding a great sword.
I thought you were gonna say gun.
No, although that might be my Baldur's Gate 3 modded run. Because I did add the firearms mod and the artificer mod and the goblins and the ASMR.
Yeah.
So you can be playable goblins or ASMR. Anyways,
but I think
we tangent for longer than I was thinking.
No.
So let's get in. We're gonna skip news this week.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna dive in because there's a lot to talk about with Eye of Darkness. So, as usual,
spoiler warning.
As we talk about Star Wars: The High Republic, The Eye of Darkness, with our boy Markion right on the cover. All right.
You got questions for this one?
No, I figured just free
open
chat.
discussion.
Yeah, open discussion. First off, this is the most Avar book.
Oh yeah,
like
we get a lot of Avar.
It feels like this is actually Avar's book, because strangely enough, like Light of the Jedi, you would think would have been Avar's book, but it really is not. It's really more I would say more Elzar's.
Yeah.
I would say this is also partially Elzar's book. Actually, if anything, Light of the Jedi might be more Bell's.
Yeah.
Because Bell's really...
I would agree it's more Bell's now, thinking about it for a moment.
Because we get the whole battle...
Because most of it is from
Because we get the battle of Peridia, or whatever planet it is. Sorry, I was thinking Ahsoka for some reason. You get the planet of Ephraim. Yeah.
Yep.
Or no, it's Ephrona. Ephrona. There we go. I got to it eventually.
Because they have the magnet of horses.
Yeah, the Battle of Ephrona happens, which is Bell's like point of view chapters.
Yeah.
We almost start off in Bell's point of view after we get through the countdown. Because we get the scene with him and Loden. Well, not through the countdown, but in the middle of the countdown.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that scene with him and Loden where Loden pushes him out of the plane. But I'd argue it's Light of the Jedi might be his book. This is arguably Avar's and Elzar's.
They are the two who take up the most page.
Yeah, take up the most chapter. Like if you look at it like a Game of Thrones thing where it has like the point of view, each chapter is a point of view. I would say Avar and Elzar take up the most point of view chapters.
Avar, man, I'm fucking trying, and I can't get out. And these goddamn scav droids won't leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elzar's like, how the fuck do I get in?
How do I get in? How do I talk to Avar? Avar!
Fuck.
And
nothing we are trying is working.
And we get some tie-ins to the comics that are going on right now, which we haven't talked about on the show yet, but I've been reading a little bit of. So there's some tie-ins there, just like with in previous phases. I'd say this is the first phase though where you have to read other things before you
need context for this.
At the very least, you should read phase 1.
Yeah.
Phase 2 is optional, although it's gonna tie in pretty heavily pretty quickly
Mhm.
because they've already tied in some stuff, like because they mentioned some names from Phase 2 in this one. And I was like, oh, I'm surprised they mentioned this person or that person. Like they mentioned Creighton. Cause
Yeah.
off the bat they're like, oh yeah, Creighton's son and our buddy the Blade were buddies.
Porter Angle.
Yeah, Porter Angle were buddies. So they reference a ship that crashed in Phase 2 that Porter's like, oh yeah, we can get an EX droid, which is like a scout droid that they used in Phase 2.
Because Porter Angle has a plan.
Because
he's the best Jedi ever.
So let's talk about the setup for Phase 3.
So
important context, basically the space Berlin Wall.
Basically, yeah.
Except if the Berlin Wall could also blow up and kill people as they tried to run through it.
Which I'm sure would have happened if we had the technology for that.
So yeah, so that's the setup, because at the end of Phase 1...
Marchion Ro is not taking down this wall.
Yeah, at the end of Phase 1, Marchion sets up his little Berlin Wall, which they call the Occlusion Zone, is like all the territory that the Nihil now own.
And the Storm Wall is the actual minefield.
And so the Storm Wall basically takes up all of the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
So anywhere, and there's no way to hyperspace through it without
a path drive.
Without path drives or blowing up.
Yep.
So you either have a path drive or you blow up. And even if you have the path drive, you have to have the specific...
otherwise, it don't work.
You have to have the specific coordinates, because that's a thing that Avar runs into when she steals the food truck.
Oh, shit, I didn't think about this.
Because
if you don't... Scav droids.
Yeah, scav droids, which we talked about in Tales of Light and Life. So once again...
They're annoying.
So that's probably the only Phase 2 context you need, is Tales of Light and Life, which... Because that one is like, hey, set up for scav droids.
Yep.
Same thing with Midnight Horizon, although they don't talk about them as much.
Yeah.
Because we learned that that's why they had the factories on Corellia. And so, scav droids will basically just rip your ship apart.
Yeah.
If you don't have the correct
proper
codes. Yeah. Because Star Wars, you gotta have your codes.
Papers, please. Oh, they're wrong. Die.
Yeah.
We'll take your car apart.
Anastasia, there's a problem. Everything is in red. We've got blue. If you ever seen Anastasia.
Fuck.
When the problem with Soviet Russia, everything is in red. I don't know if you ever saw Anastasia growing up, but...
No, but that is very true. It's like, why is... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, so the joke in that film, old film, although now there's a Broadway musical based on it, but they falsify their papers, and they make one in blue, because that's what everything is at the time when they make them, and then they get on the train, and then, of course, then they're looking at everybody's papers, and one of the characters sees, oh no, it's red now. Fuck. And so they make the joke.
Going to go well.
Yeah.
Oh god. So.
But yeah, so you essentially Bell
and Burry are like
on the
edge, being like, okay, what we need to do
is save as many people.
Save as many people as we can. That's priority 1. Priority 2, get at least one Nihil ship with a working path drive.
That way we can, like, copy it.
That way we can reverse engineer this shit and figure out how it works.
Which, of course, we learn in, like, the Star Wars comics that we've been talking about. That eventually there is one that's just hanging out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about the perspectives real quick. So we got Avar's and Elzar's, obviously. Avar's is from behind enemy lines at the end of the Occlusion Zone. She's kind of going through it.
Yeah, she's going through it.
She's having her emo face.
She's Batmaning people, let's be honest.
But she's like in an emo phase to get to Batmaning.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I have failed everybody. I'm the reason Starlight Beacon fell.
I fucked up real bad.
And so
I don't feel good about it.
Because of that, she's taking it out on herself, which then she takes that anger out on the Nihil. But she's trying very hard not to kill them.
Yeah.
Very much Batmaning. Because she's like...
I'm like, a lot of people think they'll don't kill thing is important, and it is. However,
But not for
I'd
the
like
reasons
to
we
point
think.
out to you,
It's not for the reasons we think.
I'd like to point out, you can do a lot of brutal shit to people without killing them.
Yeah. I mean, I think the importance of the not killing is less for
Like,
the
for
sake of the
Jedi, I
criminal.
understand.
I would say like it's less for Batman. It's less for the criminal and
No,
the.
of course
It's
less
because
for the-
it's because Batman knows he's too crazy.
yeah, like I can't start killing people because once that happens,
'Cause he has his
all
own-
bets are off.
Because he has his own mental problems, and he's like,
Because that's gonna domino into some really bad shit.
which is why it's kind of, I think it's kind of dumb that he tries to stop other people from doing it because
Yeah.
they don't have his issues.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh no, if you do it, then you're just as bad. No. This is a
Not
you
how
problem.
This works.
This is a you
is-
problem. This is a your personal issues.
Yeah.
Although Jason Todd did fuck up, but
Yeah.
for different reasons.
Cut Jason a little bit of slack.
Jason was
He-
trying to start a mob,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
He tried to
To be
rule.
honest, it's not like
The way he tried to rule the criminal underworld was, I'm gonna kill most of them, and then I'm gonna make them pay me, and then I'm gonna do what the old school mafia did, which is no drugs.
Yep.
No drugs, no children.
Yep.
That which is old school mafia. Like if you've ever watched The Godfather, like the first film is about how the fight against moving forward to drugs because like the other families want to start doing drugs. Meanwhile, Vito Corleone's like, nah,
No.
we don't do drugs. That's the nasty shit.
Yeah.
We do the extortion and the bribery and the murder,
protection racket.
but we don't do drugs
It's bad.
because drugs are bad. Okay.
Elzar.
But yeah, Avar's thing is doing that.
Yeah.
She's basically like taking out the Nihil where she can,
Yeah.
trying to help
Help people where she can.
Yeah. And one of the chapters we'll get into is how she takes a grain shipment,
Yeah.
and that's where the codes problem comes in because she takes the shipment thinking, oh, it's got a path engine, we'll be able to go wherever we want, and then the pilot's like, no, you killed the guys that had the codes, or you
So-
knocked out the guys that had the codes.
And you jettison them out into, say, space in an escape pod. I don't know what the fuck to do now.
Because I didn't have the codes because they didn't trust me with them. And he's
Like,
and he's a fun little Ugnaught who
Yeah.
does the I've spoken,
Mm.
which is great.
Yeah.
Callbacks.
Then
Elzar's is basically panicking of how to get like messages out.
Fuck.
He's basically trying to get messages out into the occlusion zone while
Yeah.
also trying to find a way through it.
Yeah.
And
And
basically
he's working like alongside
Lena
Chancellor
So, Lena So, yeah.
and the rest of the Republic Defense Coalition.
Which is also who Bell and
Yeah.
Bell and Burry are working
And
with, the RDC.
They're trying so hard and they're like, what the fuck do we do?
Which we also get some like discussions of like potential peace treaties
Yeah.
because like within the Lena So story side of the story, we also get Staros,
Gira.
Gara Staros,
Yeah.
because we learned that she
Gira's
deeply
realized
regrets what
that
she did in phase
she's-
one.
Oh no.
I'm
I
on the
made-
wrong team.
Oh fuck. I realized that the guy who I am boning
Is a
does
murderer.
not know how to not do the murder.
Yeah. She has officially gone Call of Duty switching sides. But
Yeah.
unfortunately it's too late. It's really too late for
he
her.
He don't know what else to do. That's just how he is.
At least that's how I interpret the ending of the book. I think it's
Hmm.
too late for Gira. I don't think she can switch sides at this point. Not because she's not willing to, but because nobody else is willing
Yeah.
to let her.
The-
Like Lena, like so eventually Markion, just to like appease her,
Yeah, it's
basically is like, you know what, go ahead, go to Coruscant, try
See
to
how
do
it
a
goes."
peace treaty, see how they treat you,
Yeah.
knowing that it's not gonna work because Markion's playing chess,
Yep.
and while Gira is playing checkers,
Mhm.
and Markion's like, they're gonna tell you no, they're gonna imprison you, and they're gonna attack the occlusion zone wall.
Yep.
That's his predictions, and he gets 3 for 3.
Yep.
This man should be gambling and going to
So-
races.
A slight thing. Before Gira is sent off to try
Yeah.
diplomacy in big fucking air quotes.
Yeah, because she she didn't do her best, honestly.
No. Former Grandmaster Pratri Vetter is executed by the Nameless on live television.
On the anniversary of when Starlight fell.
Yeah.
By the way, which was a big
Immediately-
deal because Lena So. I think this is the
Lena
one.
So-
I think this is the one mistake Lena makes in the entire book.
Yep.
This is probably her only mistake. It's definitely her biggest mistake, which is calling them out and saying they're not gonna do anything on the anniversary. On
Markion
television.
saw that and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, we got you."
Which they were already experimenting with Veter because they were trying to like
Yeah.
find ways to make the Nameless more deadly.
Yep.
And so they've been kidnapping Jedi when they can and
Yeah.
experimenting on them. That's something we see even in Phase 1. And so here they're just expanding on it, and we learn about the scientist that's in charge of that. And we
Baron Boolan.
Yeah, Baron Boolan, which we talked about his sidekick
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and his sidekick's going to appear in the junior novel. And so
Who is doing some weird science shit.
yeah, and
'Cause
so
that's why he was brought on board.
yeah, and so like Gira has attempted to kind of civilize the Nihil,
Yeah.
which the Nihil are very much against this.
Which is not going to work.
We already see it falling apart, and already two of their main things are by the end of the book.
Yep.
Because I think Boolan is kind of out of the picture mostly.
No, he's still doing weird science shit.
Okay, never mind. Then only one of their main
And
things is
even
gone.
Markion is like, "Is this guy fucking with me?"
Oh yeah, because he thinks Boolan is working for himself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's made clear that he is doing his sciencey shit not for the sake of the Nihil, but for the sake of his own research,
Yeah.
and that he's gonna dip from the Nihil the chance he
Second
gets.
everything's-
Because
Markion's like, "I know you're fucking with me,
basically,
but for right now, I'm okay with it."
because the thing is, the reason Markion is like his spidey senses are on is because Boolan is being extra like performative with his like service. Like he's very much like bowing essentially, and like anytime Markion enters the room, he's like very reverent.
Yeah.
And Markion's like, this isn't normal.
This is weird. Stop doing that. Go back to being a creepy scientist. I like you better when you do that.
Unfortunately, his other creepy scientist flips sides at the end of
Yeah.
Phase 1, so he can't.
Whoops.
And
Meanwhile,
so yeah, so basically they're like because
is playing.
Gira's trying to make them civilized.
Yeah.
She's created like 3 departments.
Yeah.
Of like to make them almost like a republic.
Yeah.
And so they have like their head of military defense, which is
General Vice.
General Vice from who we saw in the Blade comic. Which she has she's got a
little
vendetta.
bit of a grudge.
She's got a bit of a vendetta against our boy the Blade because Porter. She's like, oh, I know he's out there. I'm
Yep.
gonna find him and I'm gonna kill him. She also takes credit for bringing Veter in, even though she did not do that.
Yeah.
And then
Her wannabe.
yeah, and then we got our Minister of Science, which is Boolan.
Yep.
And then our Minister of what's the last one?
It's like information. or
Information,
some
yeah,
shit.
something like that. And I forget who they are
Yeah.
off the top of my head, but yeah. So there's the 3, and then also we got our reporter friend,
Real Darrow.
Real Darrow,
Who is being
who's-
forced to do propaganda.
yeah, which I'm kind of upset at the ending of the book because it makes the most sense to have brought her past the occlusion zone,
Yeah.
but she decides to stay at the end because they do find a way out.
Yeah.
But Real and what's the name of the Ugnaught again?
Bellin.
Balin, that's how the audiobook says it, but Balin, whatever. They decide to stay.
He can't bail out, but he can bail in.
They decide to stay in the occlusion zone to help people. They're like, we got to stay. We're gonna help people. I feel like Real Darrow makes the most sense to come across though, because during the peace treaties, one of the things that like Gira is like, oh, we're fine, is like the people are happy with us.
It's
Like no, they're not.
we know they're not.
The problem is there's no evidence because there's no proof of what's going on in the occlusion zone because it's a media blackout when it comes to anything going outside the occlusion zone or even what comes in.
Yeah.
Like they prevent airwaves and stuff. Like they allow like Chancellor So's message to go through, but they stop like other things.
Yeah.
So, like Elzar's messages, although he gets a couple through.
Yeah.
and Avar hears them, and that kind of gives her hope, which I think is a key theme in this book.
Everyone is like, hope it works out,
because
that's all we got.
Because I think hope is the theme, but that's just Star Wars in general. Like, hope is a strong theme throughout Star Wars, and I think this nails it. And I think this is almost the Empire Strikes Back of the books.
Yeah.
Although Fallen Star could also be that. But I think this is very much an Empire book where our heroes don't win, but they don't lose.
Yeah.
Which is what Empire is. They don't win, but they don't lose.
Oh.
There are losses.
Sure?
There are losses. There are losses. Same thing with the In Eye of Darkness, I think. There are losses. But there are not major wins or losses. The most they lose in Empire is Han getting frozen and then Luke getting his hand cut off.
Are you sure?
And Hoth, but that's the start.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Make it less meaningful.
It's the first act.
Yeah. They came in hard.
First act,
things just got worse.
First act, usually you're gonna lose though. You lose in your first act, you lose in your second act, but the second act is where you start to do a little bit better than your first act, and then the third act is when you should win.
Yeah. They didn't.
They didn't. In this or Empire or Fallen Star.
Yeah.
I think they get a minor victory in this book, which is getting out of the Occlusion Zone and getting Avar back.
Yeah.
I think Rill should have gone only because I think as the lead propagandist, which is something that is the one piece of media that is coming out of the Occlusion Zone. It is hitting the main space.
Yeah.
I feel like
it would be better for Rill to get out.
Well, not only that, it would be better as evidence of what's going on in the Occlusion Zone. Because the problem is, the reason that the peace treaty falls is because, one, they just can't come to an agreement of, like... Because Gira is being optimistic about making the Nihil more civilized.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else is way more realistic.
Everyone is like, nah, man. That's not how the Nihil are fucking crazy. They are a hurricane.
Specifically Marchion.
Yeah.
Like, Marchion's thing is, there is no appeasing Marchion.
Yeah.
Without destruction.
Other people other people in the group are kind of starting to realize, like a lot of the newer sign-ons,
like the one that's guarding Rill.
Yeah. What's the plan after all of this?
Because there is a Nihil that's guarding Rill, and he flips because he's realizing I need an out.
Yeah. And he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Other members are realizing that. Some of them don't care, and the rest are like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, because if we don't get out, we're
going to die.
We're going to die, and
the life expectancy of a Nihil is about a week.
Realistically.
Yeah.
Maybe a month at most.
If you're good at it.
Yeah. And if you don't run into Porter.
Your chances dramatically decrease if you run into Porter Engle. You go from about maybe a month to 5 minutes if you're lucky.
Yeah, because there's that scene I told you about. Because you were like a chapter or two behind it.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh yeah, he's starting to formulate his plan to get the EX droid. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be a scene where he finally just starts killing these guys. Because you're like, he hasn't killed anybody yet. I'm like, he's gonna.
I was like, oh man, it's really nice of Porter to give them the chance.
And then he runs into that Twi'lek, the Twi'lek Nihil.
And he's like, man, this motherfucker is tracking me. I've done killed all the low-ranked ones, so now they're sending out actual problems.
So he goes into this warehouse, and he just kills all of them. And it's like he was gonna give them a chance too.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. He was gonna let them live, but the lead one that was there tried to do a sneak attack from behind, and he was like, nope, lightsaber throw.
Yep.
Into the chest.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It's Porter.
Don't mess with Porter.
I'm like, this guy has got like over 150 years of fighting experience. What did you think would happen?
Which is why General Vice is the most obvious antagonist in this book. Like, it makes...
Like, Vice.
However you want to, I think the audiobook is Vice, but yeah.
Vice is, like, looking for him, and she's like, I know he's in this area. Because all of my guys are dying.
Like, she sees the signs. Where the fuck is he? Like, she sees the sign, she's like, this is Porter's style. I know this because I fought this fucker.
Yeah. And they both kind of want their run back.
Yeah, they want round 2.
Yeah.
Because Porter is still mad about what happened with his not sister.
Yeah. And Vice is just pissed because she kind of lost.
Yeah. She took the actual loss, whereas he took a more, like, what's it called?
A Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah. And so he's just mad about losing his sister, who is still on her vow or dead. I don't know, because they don't say.
Yeah, I assume she's still alive.
It depends how long-lived her race is. Because she's a different...
not something we don't...
Yeah, I don't think we know. And so, it's in the air. But, yeah. And so, maybe she'll come back, because that would be an interesting turn for Phase 3, and maybe something that could conclude Porter's story.
Yeah, so, I got a question.
Yeah.
What's the over-under on Porter being dead? Because
Oh, yeah, you texted me, you were like, oh, he's surviving this.
Yeah, I'm like, the only thing that's gonna kill him is old age.
So, it really depends, because we already know we're getting a second volume of the Blade comic.
Yeah.
Make its own miniseries run.
Mm-hmm.
So that depends if it's a Phase 3 era book or a Phase 2 continuation of what we saw in Phase 2. I think it's going to be a Phase 3 era though. I think it's okay. I think my prediction of Baresh being alive and maybe us seeing her come back.
Yeah.
Even though I just made that prediction a couple seconds ago, I'm starting to lean more into it because as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it makes the most sense for Porter's story to go that way. Because like it feels like it's a proper conclusion.
Yeah, I do feel like Porter,
because he needs closure.
Yeah, he do.
150 years will do that to a man.
Yeah.
We also get some Aslan Rail reference in this book.
And,
which I told you what he's up to in the comic.
Yeah.
I don't think they fully go into it, but they're like, yeah.
Didn't you blow up like a city?
Yeah, he blew up a city.
And they're like, and as Yoda's like, don't worry about it.
But that's before. That's before.
Oh, this is before?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone else is kind of like, why did you bring him here?
Yeah, because everybody's worried about Aslan because they sense the dark side in him.
Yeah.
Because being around the Nameless and the Shri Karai thing in his head making him go crazy and studying the Nameless nonstop has... Because the thing is, the Nameless feed on fear.
Yeah.
That is the major thing that we know about them. And we know, of course, the big thing about fear is it leads to the dark side.
We know. You know the thing. You've watched Star Wars. Fear leads to anger.
Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Or power if you're Vader.
Or power.
Because remember, Palpatine's like, or power.
Or power.
And Vader's like,
you just choose to
otherwise. Yeah. Suffering or power.
Like, I'm not...
Because we talked about that a couple weeks ago. But yeah.
You know.
And so, like... So because of that...
the codes aren't canon anymore.
Oh, like the... No, well, the Sith code is canon.
Okay.
And the Jedi code is canon.
I understand both of them to an extent. And I don't disagree with either of them. But I'm like, man, you chose a very dickish interpretation of, like, the Sith one.
I mean,
because I understand, like, because it should come from a place of, like, powerlessness and why you would want this. But I'm also like, wow, he fucking decided to go and twist it that far? But I'm like, because of how things are written.
But also the way Palpatine's written, George has said himself that he is the devil.
Yeah.
There is no...
Of course,
he is the irredeemable villain. There is no redemption for Palpatine ever.
Him.
There are... You can redeem other Sith, but Palpatine
but
is
not this guy.
Palpatine is the off-limits redemption because he has to be the bad guy.
The evil.
And that's just the way George has written him. And that's what he said.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Elzar is freaking out because Aslan's like, you're like me now.
And
Elzar is like, no.
Which I love that Elzar
is
thinking of Orla.
Yeah.
A lot. And because
Orla would just fucking tell me.
Yeah. I love that touch because I loved Orla. And so getting to see that Elzar still thinks back fondly on her teachings.
Yeah.
And uses them as a guiding rod, essentially.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's great. That one, it's a great callback to a great character. Two, showing Elzar's growth.
Yeah.
Because Elzar's if Anakin tried. We've said this before, but it's if Anakin tried.
Yeah. Elzar is trying.
And I think phase 3 we're gonna see the biggest growth.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
I do like the friendship that's going on between Lena So and Elzar, because I'm like, thank God he has like a non-Jedi friend to talk
Well,
to.
I think it's because he's learning to take the Stellan role.
Yeah.
I think by the end of
But also coming to understand that he's not Stellan.
I think by the end of phase 3 he's gonna be on the council.
Yeah.
I think that's Elzar's journey. I think Elzar starts off as the outsider that the Jedi don't really want to promote ever.
Yeah.
And then become one of the greatest greatest examples of Jedi. I think that's a great journey for him if that's where the story, because I think it's the best storytelling decision to make. Now, of course, while I'm making this prediction, while I would really love for that to be the ending, that does not mean I will not appreciate whatever ending these authors write, because they
know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. But I'm just predicting based on the patterns we've seen. That seems like the type of story they want to tell with Elzar.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. And I think Avar's one that's going to take more of a step back. Because she was, meanwhile, on the opposite end, the gifted Jedi that everybody expected great things from. And I think she's learning that she put herself on too high of a pedestal and too high of expectations. And now she's on the gifted burnout path. Yeah. Where she's like, I really, really burnt out myself trying to do everything. Yeah. And you can't. You reasonably can't.
I think the issue, not the issue, but like a thing, is that at the moment, like, yeah, there's the council and Elzar's talking to them, but the council is never like, I'm gonna say some weird things here.
Okay.
Me doing more Jedi slander. The council is not really a friend to Jedi.
No.
Like, ever.
I think
just because of how it's structured.
I think this council is the best council we've seen.
Yeah.
But even then, they make some decisions. It's very much, they still are trying to make the council the political side of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find that balance and I think this is the best example of it.
Yeah.
Because they are very much like, hey, we're going to not step in as much for the RDC and all that. Although they're starting to step in more.
Yeah.
But ironically, I would argue that the reason that the Jedi are pushed into the position that they hit by the prequel era, I'm starting to realize it's all Marchion's fault.
Yeah, he is. He is the problem.
Because
that caused so many other problems.
Like, I don't think the Jedi and Republic would be as tied in together by the prequel era if not for Marchion.
Marchion and the Nihil problem hadn't been so fucking bad.
Because I think...
And I remember
it's self-fulfilling.
Phase 1.
Yeah, it's very self-fulfilling.
We were pointing these things out, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to cause so many problems down the line.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because Marchion hates the Republic, and he hates the Jedi separately.
Yeah.
But then he says... I hate you because you work together, which they don't at the time.
Yeah.
They work together in the same means as like a UN country works with the UN. It's like, yeah, we work together, but we're not like colluding entirely. Like there is no, the church and state are still separate.
Yeah.
When Marchion enters the scene, but Marchion's making claims that they aren't, and because he's making these claims, he's drawing them closer to where they are the same. And he's the reason that they are the same by the time of the prequel era.
Yeah.
And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. He created this. He created his own problem. He created his own nightmare.
Oh, God.
Which then becomes a problem for the Jedi, because the Jedi were never meant to be that intertwined with any government.
Yeah. And then... we got Bell and Buryaga, and thank God Buryaga is there for Bell, because Bell's getting so pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where he says, fuck this, I'll just take this whole ship and do it myself.
Which Elzar is on board for that plan.
Yeah.
Which is the attack we referenced earlier.
This is after the attack, and how it doesn't go so well.
Yeah, so because there is that attack, because after
Marchion executes.
Yeah, after Vider's executed,
Gira goes, and that don't work.
Yeah, Gira goes, peace treaty doesn't work, she gets
sent back.
She gets sent back. She was locked up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we don't trust you. But they sent her back because they decided we're just gonna tell Markion no, and the worst thing that we could do to you is send you back.
Yeah. Also, like the brief discussion between Elzar and Lena So about what to do with Gira, and Elzar, it basically goes, "Don't fucking trust her."
Yeah. And so, yeah, they send her back, and then Markion, like as they're sending her back, the attack happens
because one of the buoys is like glitching.
Yeah, because Kavan has Kevin. I think it's Kavan because I don't think it's meant to be just Kevin, but Kevin comes up with a plan that he thinks has a possibility of working. It's not a full 100% plan. Because even he says there's a higher chance of failure than success.
And they're like, we need to do something.
And so they bring it to to Lena. Lena says, okay. And she goes, hey, Elzar, tell the Jedi.
Tell the Jedi we're doing this.
And so he tells the Jedi that they're doing it with or without us.
Yeah.
Jedi go, well, it's better if they do it with us.
Yeah.
And so they send Elzar.
Yep.
And everything goes to shit.
Yep.
Because it does not work.
And it's one of those times where it's like, you made a plan, you stuck to the plan, you tried your best. Sometimes things just don't work.
And so Markion just uses that as ammunition. So we send a representative out of the kindness of our heart to do a peace treaty, and y'all attack us.
Oh man, it's gonna be real crazy how we take the rest of this.
Yeah, and so he expands the occlusion zone.
Congratulations, you're under the new domicile of the Nihil government.
Are you going for a Fallout thing or a start?
I don't know.
It felt like a Fallout thing. It felt like the Enclave.
Congratulations, we'll be taking your stuff for the betterment of our society.
It's like, no, I hate the Enclave.
Oh God,
this is too patriotic.
Stop it. Calm yourself a little bit.
But no. So yeah, Markion's like, he knew this would happen. He planned for it to happen. In fact, he was like, oh, this is exactly what I predicted they'd do. I did this on purpose. I sent you knowing that they wouldn't listen to you.
Care.
And I knew they would attack while you were out there. And
can we talk about how Markion's got like a fucking Eye of Sauron thing going on Hetzel?
Yeah. So Hetzel is his home base now.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of a twist.
Yeah. Because he just fucking loves.
Well, it's a twist of the knife because it makes everything that happened in Light of the Jedi even worse.
Yeah.
Because, that's the first place where the first attack happened. The first major attack.
Yep.
And so Avar feels even more guilty about that.
Yeah. How you doing, hero of Hetzel?
Not great, because I can't save the place that I'm a hero of.
Yep. How you like it now? But yeah, so one of the fucked up things so there was a brief rebellion on Hetzel once the occlusion zone started.
Until General Vise turned on them.
Until General Vise sold them out.
Because she was their general, which includes a pattern of Vise just selling out people that she works for.
Yeah.
Because she did that in the Blade comic, and then she does it again here.
And so, after she sells them out, some of them keep fighting. Where, and they're like, alright, fuck this. You want to keep rebelling? Okay. Let's kill 20% of, the workers for all this grain that you guys do. And it's like, oh. Well, that didn't go to plan.
Nope.
And so, the other thing, the Eye of Sauron thing that's coming into play, is that every once in a while, Markion's, little window into his bedroom looks like a fucking eye. And every once in a while, he just goes and ignites the fucking lightsaber that he has to be like, hey, I'm watching you today.
I'm here.
Don't fuck it up. It's just
it's so evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where I'm like, what do you get out of this? It's just the fact that people know. I assume
it's the fear. It's the fear that he's putting it, because I mean, at the end of the day, he's created a fascist
basically
government
He is the government.
A chaotic fascist. Okay, the problem is he's an anarchist, but also a fascist.
Yeah.
And those don't entirely blend.
Yeah.
And so Markion is this weird, hypocritical look at a government, like,
I was
because he's very
thinking
hypocritical.
about
He's
it.
very hypocritical.
Yeah. But I was also like trying to think about it the other day. I was like, is Markion like a hedonist? Because it seems like that's the primary driving force for the Nihil.
Yeah, it
Do
is.
what
It is.
you want.
It is. That's their main goal is hedonism. Yeah, that's actually something that they promoted when they announced the High Republic
Yeah.
era. They were like, yeah, the Nihil are Vikings. Their main thing is do what you want, take what you want.
Yep.
So he is a hedonist, but I think also like he claims it he claims to be an anarchist when he's not, because he's like, I hate the government, but you just built a government.
Well, Gira built a government.
Well,
Markion doesn't. Really
but
care.
he's taking advantage
Yeah.
of it, and he's definitely made government structures even before Gira.
Yeah.
Like the
Well,
fact that he made this
No, he
inclusion.
inherited
Yeah,
a government from his old man by beating the shit out of him.
but he hasn't like
Yeah.
done anything to change that,
Yeah. Because why would he? It works for him.
which makes him once again a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because. But I think good villains are.
Yeah.
Good villains are very hypocritical. The best villains are
He's
hypocritical.
also using nepotism to his advantage in the most hardcore way I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I think I think he's a great villain. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Markion is like the top of Star Wars villains.
yeah. He is a worse problem than fucking Palpatine to me.
Yeah. I would still put Palpatine as the number one Star Wars villain.
Yeah,
But
because he's Satan. But I mean, like from a more...
well, I mean from a writing
Yeah.
structure, I would put Palpatine up there as number one. Vader probably is number two, and then Markion's probably right underneath him.
yeah. I mean, that's one.
I'd put him in the-
interpretation of it.
I'd almost put him in the top. I mean, if not the top three, top five at least. I mean, you could put Maul up there. I mean, Dooku, he's a good villain, but he's not top five.
No, he's not.
I would put Gideon up there, top five. Mandalorian, Moff Gideon, top five villains. But yeah, I'd put Markion up there in top five.
Yeah,
cause,
he's up there because like he's such a fucking problem.
Well, he's just so well written too. Like
Yeah.
he's even across like so many different authors.
Dude just loves plotting
Yeah,
all the time.
because I mean, at this point, we've got starting with Charles Soule. If we just do the adult novels, which is where Markion's made most of his appearances, we've got Charles Soule, we got Claudia Gray, we got George Mann now,
Yeah.
we got Cavan Scott because he did Rising
Yep.
Storm. Who did, and then he appeared in the manga as well in volume 2, and a little bit of the phase 2 one, Precedent. And I'd say across all these authors,
Fucking
that's
hyper competent villain.
which is like 5 different authors right
Yeah.
there. Across 5 different authors alone, he's still a very well written, there isn't a lot of change to his character. His
No.
character is very well understood by these authors.
Yeah.
And I think it helps that they organized, like they sat around at a table and said, what is the story for the High Republic?
Yeah.
Which is something that is new for Star Wars books and comics, and like we have the story group that we've talked about who do keep track of canon, but we've never I'd say the only thing close to this was the one time back in the EU, which we talked about when Timothy Zahn, Kevin J. Anderson, and I just forgot his name, Tom Veitch. When they all sat together and they organized the early 90s Star Wars stuff, which is how we got the Thrawn trilogy, or Heir to the Empire trilogy, the Tales of the Jedi and Dark Empire trilogy. And they organized it well enough to where like they knew like what stories were going on, even though Tales of the Jedi takes place 4,000 years before the movies and Dark Empire takes place after the movies. They were still connecting dots.
Yeah.
And so they did a really good job of that. And I think this is the next best thing to that, where authors just sit down and go, "This is the story we want to make. Here's the plan." And because of that, we get character understanding even across 5 different authors, which I'd say even the EU struggled with, because we had the Vong stuff where they had 9. They do 9-book series for a lot of the old EU stuff, or Legends. So you had the Vong stuff, which is the New Jedi Order books, 9 books, bunch of different authors, almost a new author for every book.
And that can make things difficult if they're not all in discussion with each other.
Which back then they weren't. And then Fate of the Jedi as well. And then the what was the name of the book series before Fate of the Jedi? Because it's New Jedi Order, Legacy of the Force, and then Fate of the Jedi. I mean,
it can get complicated.
That's 3 9-book series with a bunch of different authors.
Oh man!
And honestly, New Jedi Order and Fate of the and the Legacy of the Force are connected inherently because they're the story of Jaden and Jaina Solo, or Jason and Jaina Solo, which is Han and Leia's kids in Legends.
All right.
And one of them becomes a Sith.
Yeah, well, it's a genetic problem.
Yeah. So
they're predisposed to.
Yeah, apparently a Solo, no matter what timeline, will become a dark side Force user.
Yeah.
But yeah,
focusing.
Back on Eye of Darkness. Let's kind of wrap it up because
Porter is like, I have a plan. Plan as a go.
Yeah, because basically, so Real has been secretly giving messages through the propaganda, so that hidden within the code. Thankfully, Avar brought KC with her, which also we get some touching thoughts about. About our buddy Maru.
He gone now.
Yeah. Casey's original owner and one of the heads at the Starlight Beacon.
And Stellan died.
Yeah, when Stellan died.
And Casey is now developing the I don't want my masters to die because I'm on 2. I'm on 3 now.
Well, actually, this is 2 because I don't think Casey worked for Stellan, just to stall Maru. But yeah, Casey's not happy about it. Casey's like, nah. Same thing. Actually, there is a droid that's with Elzar that was with Stellan.
Yeah.
Because there was the one that Elzar gifted Stellan. Yeah. Because there was the one that Elzar gifted Stellan.
To remind him to lighten up every once in a while.
And then Stellan died, and then Elzar's working with that droid now, which that droid did inherit a lot of Stellanisms.
Yeah.
Which is why Elzar will think of something very Elzar, and then the droid will be like, not a great plan.
What if I just roasted you real quick?
Yeah, because that's not a great plan.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just saying what Stellan would say, and Elzar's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, fucking got a point.
All
right.
But yeah, so Avar has KC.
Yeah.
And KC is able to eventually filter through the messages.
Filter through that.
Which her and Balin and basically they all finally meet up. Except for Porter. Porter meets up later. After they fall into a trap.
Yeah.
Because the Nihil do kind of put 2 and 2 together, and they're like, yeah, one of ours has been hanging around that reporter lady. He's hanging around her too much. And so they kind of realize that some secret messages are getting passed.
At first, he was the guy that was suspicious. They hooking up?
Yeah.
They banging? They're not banging. What are they doing?
Yeah. And so they attack. They set a trap, and thankfully our heroes make it through it.
Yeah.
And then eventually they meet up with Porter, who's like, "Hey, I sent a EX droid. It kind of didn't work because Vise got it. But I
still have the parts.
I still have the parts, and I also have a plan for how we can get out of here.
So all we need to do is send it on out. It should be good."
And so they enact the plan, which ends with Vise tracking them down.
Yep.
And Porter is like, "All right, time."
Metal Shrike, who has been the biggest fucking pain.
Yeah.
For Bell and Buryaga, because they've been chasing her.
Yeah.
All along the outskirts of the storm wall. They eventually figured out her raiding pattern, and that's how they were able to get her.
Yeah.
Get her in the midst of everything going wrong.
Yeah, so we get that big fight along with the Porter rematch with Vise, and so Porter gets onto Visa's ship and is basically like, "I'm just gonna blow it up,"
Yeah, fuck this.
And so they get into a fight. They blow up. We don't see the results of. We don't see the interior, so we don't know if Porter lives.
We also don't know if Vice lived.
But it's more likely that
it's implied.
It's implied that she's definitely dead, because otherwise she would have reported back to Marchion, and Marchion's like, if she doesn't report back to me, she's dead anyways.
Yeah.
So either she died or she's going to die.
And it's like, oh no, two of the really big names for both sides are MIA.
Yeah. And so, but it's implied that Porter probably lived, Visa's dead.
Yeah. Porter got like a whole fucking sword through his shoulder and he just yanked it out.
But Avar makes it across, and like we said before, Beelan and
Beelan and Rill decide to stay.
Yeah, because they say we can do more to help the people out by staying. Because when we did the grain shipment thing, we didn't go over that.
Yeah, we should go over that.
There was not enough food.
Yeah, it's
Avar's like great, I brought you some food, hooray! And they're like, yeah, this is great for like a week,
2 weeks, and then we're gonna have to figure something out.
And Avar's like, oh shit, and realizes real problems.
It's like, not a case of me just bringing them a shipment. They need multiple. Fuck. And so it's a sustainability problem. And Balin's like, why don't you go and use the rest of the like ground here to grow crops? And they're like, oh,
because it's poisoned.
We came to this planet where if we grow too much, it'll fucking start poisoning us.
Yeah, because it's the ground isn't like the soil is poisonous or something, like it's got like toxins in it, and so they're like
just to make sure we don't overuse it.
And also on top of that, they were like, also we don't believe in that.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, okay.
And Balin's like, while Avar is freaking out, he's
like, that's a stupid.
He basically goes over to Avar and is like, don't worry, they're real dumb. They were gonna die anyway.
He's like, yeah, they don't grow crops, they're dumb.
It's like, I get it.
Because they don't believe in agriculture.
I'm like, but the way that it's worded is like, they believe that they're working with nature in order to do it. However, I'm also like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, you're fucked.
You don't believe in you don't really believe in doing agriculture, and then you land on a planet where you can't anyways, even if you did.
That's like the entire point of the conversation that they have with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, also, that's not going. Even if they started planting now or had in the year before, it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, more than likely, the Nihil would have raided them.
They would have either raided them, or it wouldn't have been able to grow by now.
Because more than likely, I highly believe that Marchion's the type to do a grain raid where he's like, oh, I see they're trying to farm and sustain themselves.
No,
nah,
you gotta rely on us now.
You gotta give us at least a heavy portion of that food, like
say 60%.
Yeah. Pull a seven samurai essentially, where they come in and steal most of the crops for the year, or A Bug's Life, if you've ever watched that, because that's basically just 7 samurai. Except if all the samurai were pretending to be samurai, which in the original 7 samurai only one is.
Yeah.
But what if all of them were, and that's A Bug's Life?
I'm
not wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I'm trying to remember the name of the like poser samurai.
Oh yeah, and then there's Magnificent Seven, which is just the cowboy remake.
Yeah,
because
Kukuchiyo, that's his name.
Yeah, Kukuchiyo.
And they're like making fun of him for the entire movie because they're like, well, we know you're not a samurai, and they're like, why? They're like, well, first off, you're using an odachi. None of us use that, and also, while technically, yeah, that name does work for a samurai, and the scroll you have does say that that name belongs to a samurai. There's one problem.
We know that guy.
It's a girl's name.
Yeah, we know them,
and you're not them.
Yeah, it's like, we know her. Like, you can't fool us.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah. But anyways, I have Darkness as a 9. Just straight up a 9.
Yeah.
Like, no, almost a 10. It's almost perfect. I have sung the praises of George Mann for a long time.
That's great.
And George Mann just proved himself even more with this book. Give the man more adult novels. I don't care if it's High Republic. Just give him more Star Wars. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, a great brief dialogue thing between Angle and Vice is like, Vice, you're always getting in my way. And Porter's like, but you make it so easy.
Oh man, you gotta love Porter.
Yeah, it's because he's like, I'm old, I don't care anymore.
Well, even when he was younger,
he didn't care. Because what are you going to do? Kill him?
You can try.
You can try. It's not gonna work.
All right, I was double checking. Yes. So next week we will be talking about the Yoda comic. So 10 issues of that to talk about.
All right.
And that yeah, we've done our first episode of December. So things to look out for. Today.
Yes.
I will be on Twitch with my buddy Star Wars Lawyer, where he has offered me, Grandmaster Bale, and Cal4 to play 2v2 Battlefront 2 2005 Galactic Conquest. I don't know whose team I'm on. I don't know who I'm working with yet, but it'll be interesting. So if it's live now, go check it out. It'll be on Twitch at Star Wars Lawyer. And then also tomorrow, if you are part of the Discord, we are doing our D&D game, Acquisitions Incorporated, Session 5? Yeah, Session 5. And so they are currently hunting down... I'm actually giving spoilers, I guess, because Session 4, I think, is still on the Patreon.
They are on timing.
Yeah, they are hunting down the Zentarum, because the Zentarum currently have the Diamond Staff.
Yep. And they need it.
And they need it to stop the Zent's plan, which is to open this ancient elven ruin.
Yep.
And
can't have them do that.
Yep. And also, of course, along the way, they are also having to avoid the Cult of the Dragon, who are also after it because Dretch Royster wanted it at the beginning of the campaign. And also the Eldrith Veluthra, the elves enemies that they have.
Yep.
They also want it because they want to use it to get rid of all humans on Faerun. So, a lot of things going on. A lot of information they have learned about. They've learned about what the Eldrith Veluthra are completely up to, what their endgame is. If you want to know what that is, you should join the Patreon, because Session 4 is where that all goes down. And that is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. And there you can learn what the Eldrith Veluthra are up to, learn some secrets about Thiasen, Matt's character, as well as some stuff about Mouser, Austin's character. There's a lot of things where people are learning about each other and also learning about the endgame. A lot sooner than I thought as a DM, honestly. And I'm kind of proud of them for how much they've learned and what they're doing. But yeah, so Session 5, we're going to continue with that. And that's tomorrow. And if you join the Discord, which is the link down below, you'll be able to... I'll do an @everyone tag, and you'll know when we're going to start recording. All we ask is that you mute your mic, and that way the players and myself can do our thing, and you just listen and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And get to listen to it before even the Patreon. And that's free. So, free to hang out in the Discord. Tomorrow is also your game.
You can catch me and some friends of ours every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time over on Trials of Nebu. I don't know what happened last week. I'm not even sure there was a game last week.
Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be a big thing?
I think the plan was that...
Wasn't that the big end game? Oh, Thanksgiving, that's...
John was going to go and run a game, and we were going to do that. But I have no idea what the fuck happened.
Oh, okay. Because I also know that you mentioned last week that the big end game for that combat was, like, for the problems that you started were going to happen.
I didn't start any problems. The problems were going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, but you did create an international incident.
I kicked the hornet's nest that people were already kicking.
You just kicked it hard enough that the hornets came out.
Yeah.
Um,
And so the plan. Help
the person that you want to kill by bringing them their sister, right?
No.
No.
Help their sister kidnap the person I want to kill,
And then kill them
get
both.
them outside of town, and either kill both of them, or if we can't do that, just finish the job.
Okay. And then also the I want to see if I remember. There's also the results of the competition.
Yeah.
Because y'all are in the finale.
We're basically
In the finals. Yeah, you're in the finals.
And out of the
y'all made it through the semifinals.
Yeah, out of the I forget. I think it was 32 to 40 people who were competing. We are down to the final 4.
See, I did remember. I listen.
And me and Nick, we discussed how we didn't know if we'd get this far. And Nick was like, yeah, I didn't think I'd get this far either, because Nick is playing a magic user.
Oh yeah.
But so far we're doing pretty good.
And then I'm excited because I want to do more Grim Hollow because
Yes.
D&D Beyond dropped some Grim Hollow stuff.
Fucking yell at the rest of them.
I saw Steve just messaged saying
yeah?
DJ Scuba.
All right, I'm gonna yell at them now.
Yeah, we need to play.
Cause
we need to at least do. I want to at least do
Just tell us one night to get in the fucking thing and do a brief recap discussion.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I don't think the thing I want to do is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I want to do something real fancy, and that ain't happening.
Fuck fancy. Do what works. I know you want to
for content,
but just record the recap discussion.
I know I just had a cool idea, but it's not happening.
It's a very cool idea, but
it's not happening because only you and I are committed to it,
yeah.
and everybody else is just not reading the messages
or
just not doing anything.
Your first problem was expecting them to read. That's mean. They can read. They're all actually really good at it.
But yeah, D&D Beyond added some Grim Hollows.
Just doesn't want to.
D&D Beyond added the Layers of Athara stuff to Grim Hollow, and so I have that book. It's over there, but that basically adds more dungeons and stuff, and so
I like Boone being.
we've talked about what we want to do with your character before the next section and where we think he's gone. So I think that'll be fun to talk about. But that's gonna be everything for this week. Next week, Yoda.
Yep.
Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Like I said, check out our Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. That's all at Escape Reality Films. So is our Kick, which is also what we're also normally streaming on.
Yeah.
And then
shout out to Jennifer Brantley. Thank you for supporting us.
Yep, on Patreon. Woo! She's at the $10 tier, but the $5 tier still gets you access to our content before it's public on YouTube. Unless I do a last-minute video like I did yesterday, or today's video, which is normally a live stream.
Yeah. The other,
and then
I forgot. Trials of Naboo, 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, almost every Sunday, at the Steam Dungeon,
and that's on YouTube. And that's his D&D game that he plays. And then also check us out on TikTok at Escape Reality
which
Films. It's also Escape Reality Films. It's my thing more than him. Yeah. He sometimes appears when I decide to drag him in.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter, it's Escape Reality 94, and then Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, it's Caleb.Lockwood. There we go. Yeah. I figured it. I don't have the script up today, so I had to remember.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you all next week. I've spoken.
Later. Be safe.